Hey everybody, welcome to Strategy Hacker Livestream. I'm Shelly Palmer. It is so great to see you all here today. As you know, this is where I just sort of hang out and do some office hours and answer your questions. We have a lot to cover today. We're going to talk about NFTs. I actually set up an NFT mining operation last night to share with you. We're going to talk about the NFL and the new deal and what Amazon's streaming Thursday night NFL games may mean to the business, and all kinds of interesting news that went on this week. Really spectacular stuff. Of course, as always, we'd like you to get as involved as humanly possible. So the chat is where everything happens here. Please, I see some of you already starting to chat. Please get into it. Put your name in the chat. Tell me where you are and tell everybody a little bit about what you do. There was a problem with the salon at 11. You were locked out. I'm sorry. Howie Schwartz, I'm totally sorry you were locked out of our salons today. We'll look into that for you. Andre, welcome. Thank you so much. Steve Katolik, glad you were here, are here. Sorry about this morning. I know a lot of people were locked out of the salon. Next Wednesday, we're going to have an amazing salon. It's going to start a new thing. We've been doing health tech on Wednesdays, but my daughter, Alexis, who's our Executive Vice President of Client Services and Events for the Palmer Group, is going to be hosting Women Championing Women, WCW. Or Women Crushing Wednesdays, however you like it. It's going to be a leadership-focused group for women and people who are, looking for the kind of leadership advice and support that one can offer each other. So that's going to start 11:05 next Wednesday. I hope those of you who are interested in that subject will join. Welcome, Candace. Again, if you are here, please put your name in the chat. Tell us where you are. Pietro Rotundo, how are you, young man? My old drinking buddy, Pete. So good to see you. Glad you're here. Tell us where you are. Tell us where you're from. I see some LinkedIn peeps. I see some Facebook peeps. We can go into a little housekeeping while we let everybody get together here. We're on YouTube Live. That's the main place where we distribute Strategy Hacker live stream every week. We also put up videos every single day. And to be fair, I don't promote the YouTube channel enough. And I also don't ask for subscriptions enough. So if you feel like subscribing or hitting the little bell for notifications, go ahead and do that. But anyway, we're on YouTube Live, and we're on YouTube Live every Wednesday. But we're also distributed on Facebook Live. We're also on Twitch. Hey there, Twitch. We love you guys. It's my high hill to climb. I know there's only a couple of you guys on Twitch, but wow, am I happy you're there. We're on Facebook Live. We're on LinkedIn Live. I have a little trouble understanding how many people show up on LinkedIn Live because LinkedIn's the only one of the streaming keys we don't have directly. It's done through Restream, and we just never get good stats. So I see a few of you on LinkedIn Live, but I really don't know. The best place to be is at YouTube Live. However, if you are on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitch, hey, Al Kagan, how are you? Welcome. And welcome, Grand Taunton Press. Glad you're here from Detroit, Michigan. If you are here and you want to chat with everybody, there's a Discord channel on a Discord server, and that will get you interactive with everyone. So not only will you be able to put your questions in, but you'll also be able to see what other people are saying. So there is a link in every description on all of the various channels on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, for a Discord server. If you're not getting an interactive chat experience, welcome, Dan Cole. So great to have you here. If you're not getting an interactive experience, you can just click the Discord. You're instantly going to be accepted into that environment, and we would love to have you as part of this chat. So this is office hours. Chat's where it's happening. Not only do I want to know who's here, I want to know where you are. You might tell me about the weather, but more importantly, you're going to tell each other what it is you do. 1 line, 2 lines, not 1,000 lines. It's not a place where you can put 1,000 lines of text, but if you just put a couple lines about what you're doing so that everyone can meet you and you can meet everybody, it's kind of a fun place to be. If you are not a member of PGX, I hope you will join. Also in the description, in each of these show descriptions, is a link to pgx.tech. That's our private social network. And I know it's not a great day in New Jersey, but it's great that you're here, Jeffrey. Thank you. Richard Sellers, welcome from Saratoga Springs in Kansas. Candace, welcome. And I'm glad to see that the international realtor community is well represented here today. PGX is a super fun place to be. We've got over 3,000 members now. It is a spectacular group of people. I can't say enough good things about the people on PGX. The conversations are robust. They are hardcore. It's always open season on ideas. It is never open season on people. It is civil and yet fierce. And I'm very proud of what goes on there. David Houle, welcome. I'm glad to have been able to offer you a little bit of PC buying advice. I hope that it was helpful. So pgx.tech, folks, if you are not a member, please, you kind of self-select if you're watching here. So if you are interested in conversing with people who, are into the kind of stuff that we're all into, that's a good place to do it. Of course, I want to hear from you offline as well. Shelly@shellypalmer.com is my actual email address. @ShellyPalmer is where you can reach me on Twitter or DM me if you would like to. I'd love to have you. Columbus, Ohio, welcome. Glad you're here. I think links work in almost every one of the chat clients. Not all of them. Certainly in Discord they do. LinkedIn, I know you can put a link in when you type into the chat. Some places don't allow that. I'm not quite sure what the rules are around that just yet. It seems to be catch as catch can, but try and put in some links so people can find you. Don't put in personal information you don't want published in the world, because these things do tend to stay around a long time. We have a daily email. You know that. Most of you know that. So yeah, shellypalmer.com/subscribe. I would truly appreciate it. It's free. You can always unsubscribe with one click if it doesn't interest you, because let's face it, not everything will. But we think we do a pretty good job of taking the day's news and chunking it up in ways that'll make it bite-sized and edible and easy. And every morning I do a rant Monday through Friday about whatever I think is rantable. Hello back, Mohammed. Good to have you here. I try to do something about the news every day. On Saturdays, I do AI and weekend reading, round up the articles you might have missed, although I may start to do this pretty hardcore about NFTs. I'm going to show you today. I built an NFT mining system last night for us today to look at. I wanted to explain NFTs. People have been asking me all week, should you get into mining Bitcoin? Should you get into mining Ether? And should you start minting your own NFTs? We'll do minting of NFTs specifically next week. This week, we're going to learn how to mine Ether or ETHs so that you can see what a consumer grade mining system would look like and why you should or shouldn't do it. So I thank you, Dan Cole. I think it's the best newsletter out there too, but I have a lot of bias. Fred, for sure. Welcome. So happy to have you here. Maurice, so happy to have you here too. So yeah, we're going to cover NFT mining a little bit later in this show. But again, shellypalmer.com/subscribe if you are interested in the newsletter. And of course, those of you who, what is an NFT? Good question. Kenneth, we're gonna get into that deeply get into that. Again, we talked about the networking salons, education tech on Mondays, and on Tuesdays we have leading edge technology. I told you Wednesdays we're switching over to women championing women. Or the other working title here at the Palm Group is Women Crushing Wednesdays. So Health Tech is going away, and we're going to put the WCW team there. And then on Thursdays, tomorrow, we will have Tech Media and Marketing. That's by far the largest of our salons. We always break out into breakout sessions, and you will always find someone there to talk about my favorite subjects, the nexus of technology, media, and entertainment. Hey there, Simon Applebaum. How are you? Tomorrow will be televised. Awesome podcast. If you guys aren't really loyal listeners, then you're not like interested in TV. Simon is like the TV guru. So definitely hook up at Apple Podcasts, wherever you find your fine podcasts. Tomorrow will be televised. Really love Simon's work. He's very knowledgeable. Hey, Mindy, how are you? Welcome. Glad that you're here too. So let's move on to free resources at courses.shellypalmer.com. There are some paid courses there, but plenty of free resources, bunch of free ebooks, trend reports, templates for stuff, decision-making templates. I just actually wrote a PNG memo for an internal business plan yesterday. We eat our own dog food. I used my own template, and actually, rather than do it from memory, I actually went to courses.shellypalmer.com to download it. True story. I went on my own hard drive and I was like, I know exactly where this is. It's at courses.shellypalmer.com. And I went and I just downloaded it myself, which is a little weird, but it was super fast. So a lot of free resources there you guys can go get your hands on. Again, chat is where it's at. We want everybody, put your name in chat. Tell us what you do. Tell me where you are. Tell me what you're thinking about. And of course, ask your questions, because this entire show is my office hours. This is about me answering your questions. Strategy Hacker is the hashtag that I'm asking everyone to use. I would really like it. And I mean, really, really like it if everybody would just, start tweeting. For whatever reason, we did a Twitter analysis this week, and we did a follower count analysis. You know that 50% of the people that follow me on Twitter, of the 42 some odd thousand people that follow me, which half have not tweeted this year. And they're not bots. We went and looked. I don't get it. I don't know. I just don't get it. So 413,000 LinkedIn followers. Love you all. You guys should do some LinkedIn posting. I don't know, 10,000 Facebook followers. Please, please. Got to get a little more active in social. Now, of course, the funnest part, the funnest part of all of this. Oh, wait, I have to go back to my, the funnest part of all this. I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint for a second. This is just silly. Oh, wait, Bitcoin's coming. That's my little promo. At Shelly Palmer 5 on TikTok. Now, every day I go either from hero to zero or zero to hero. So I don't know what any given day is. I talked about TikTok last week. This is the most fun I have had in years. And I think if you're not on TikTok every day for a few minutes, you're missing like where all the cool kids are playing. So at Shelly Palmer 5 on TikTok, I am getting followers like it's going out of style. And any given video that I post, which will do 3 viewers on YouTube and 20 viewers on Facebook and 500 viewers on LinkedIn, does somewhere between, call it 5,000 and 500,000 views on TikTok. Now, I don't know who's really doing it. The comments are ridiculous. I mean, everything from people who are in the business, who are genuine and mean, doing meaningful stuff, to people who are just like, should be institutionalized, because to be fair, no one should speak like that. And you just keep wanting to say, literally, you kiss your mother with that mouth. It's terrifying. But one way or the other, we definitely think you should go on TikTok to Shelly Palmer 5 and hang out. Again, ask your questions. It is office hours, so anything you guys want to talk about, I'll be happy to talk about today. Joey is standing by, and he is monitoring this chat. He's going to throw into the tool set I use to put graphics up all the questions that I'm going to try and get to. So yeah, that's where we're going to be. All righty. Now, let's get solidly into what I want to talk about today. Before we do our NFT mining, because we're going to definitely go deep into, how you create or mine Ether today, ETHs. I know some people asked, what is an NFT? Let me just quickly say before we get into our stories, an NFT is a non-fungible token. A non-fungible token is exactly the opposite of a crypto coin or cryptocurrency, where cryptocurrency is by definition fungible, meaning that one Bitcoin is absolutely exchangeable for another Bitcoin. Your Bitcoin and my Bitcoin can be used the same way. An NFT is a unique digital piece of content with a unique identification. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. So yeah, Simon's asking a question here. Do I see NFTs as a way to get new TV projects off the ground? What a great question. Let me think about that, Simon. That is a really, really good question. I don't have a good answer for it right now. I think generally what NFTs are good for won't be getting TV projects or any project off the ground that isn't an NFT. I think it's going to be amazing for tokenizing digital content, giving it a watermark and a fingerprint and a unique address on a blockchain somewhere. Maybe it'll be the Ethereum blockchain. And there, all of the creators and stakeholders will know the provenance and know the disposition of all of the reuses and resales of the product. So the legitimate resales of the product, this doesn't do anything for DRM or copyright protection, but if XYZ creator mashes up your work, that fingerprint would phone home. You'd be able to verify your ownership on the blockchain from the NFT. So I think there's, when a lot of untrusted parties are in the world using a lot of content, I think there's something there for the tokenization of digital content moving forward. Whether that's going to be a thing, it's been around for a few minutes, and so far we haven't seen it be a thing, but we'll talk about it. So what happened last week was the most important thing that's happened in the longest time. The longest time. As people always ask me, what's going to happen to local TV? What's the future of the TV business? And I answer always, without hesitation, as goes the NFL, so goes television, and more precisely, so goes local television. Last week, the NFL and the television industry, although that is not what to call them in any way, the media industry that happens to have a whole bunch of TV networks and stations associated with it, signed an 11-year, $100 billion-ish deal with the NFL. So everything we know about television will stay basically as it is and will stay on trend for the next 11 years. What does that mean? Well, if anything was going to kill broadcast TV, it won't now. Meaning that local stations will still be the distributors of network content with one caveat. One caveat. The networks are going to stream directly to consumers now. The local stations no longer have broadcast exclusivity. What is NFL? Good question. That is the National Football League. American football is America's second favorite or first favorite pastime, depending on who you ask. There are 16, soon to be 17 weekends a year where most television is watched. That's watched in the United States. And then Super Bowl weekend, where the most television is watched in the United States. It's been this way for a while. The highest rated, regularly scheduled television program on broadcast television is NBC's NFL Sunday Night Football. And that used to be exclusively watchable on your favorite NBC station in your local market. There's roughly 228 affiliated stations. NBC owns and operates 20-something stations, I believe. Simon, you can tell me, I think it's 27 or 28 owned and operated NBC stations. Everything else is an affiliate owned by another station group. And they are for-profit companies that sign deals to be affiliates or affiliates of a given network, affiliated with the NBC, ABC, CBS television network, or Fox. Also, the CW network has affiliates, and there are independent stations in the United States. All in, there's a PBS station, a bunch of markets too, a lot of TV stations, and for the most part, they're not owned by the networks. For the most part, they're owned by other organizations who sign affiliate deals. Fox television stations, there are a lot of those, 200-something Fox television stations. Fox is going to stream through Tubi. Yeah, I thought 2700s. I was close. Good for me. Fox is going to stream their games through Tubi. They're slow playing it. I don't think this is going to be a big deal for Fox affiliates. NBC is going to stream every single game on Peacock. CBS is going to stream every single game on Paramount Plus. What was an exclusive CBS television network product is now shared with a direct-to-consumer product. Uh-oh. Whatever that means for local television, it's not good, and it's really not good if you're a CBS or an NBC affiliate, because the last thing you needed in the world was competition from the network direct-to-consumer. Now, the demographics of television, broadcast television, are already something like 55 to deceased. It is a older person's medium. Sports does span all the way from kids to grown-ups, but young people have other places to get their entertainment and consume video very differently. I don't need to tell anybody who's a Shelly Palmer audience member or part of our community that young people act differently and do different things from a media consumption perspective than older people. So let's just call it what it is. As the broadcast stations lose exclusivity and there are streaming venues for younger people to stream on, they will stream. Which means, Aldo, who says local news gets a lift, they do. Where a station has late local news or early news, lead in, lead out, it is absolutely true then, true now, that lead in, lead out means something. And first quarter hour is always dependent on the previous quarter hour. And so this is a horror show if you are a local television station. This is just a horror show. And I don't know if this is going to accelerate or decelerate something that has been thought about for a long time. Television spectrum, the radio frequencies, the electromagnetic waves that are gifted with a capital G to the broadcast industry for free by the federal government, are the most valuable spectrum from a wireless perspective. TV is wireless. All of this is radio. All of it. Your cell phones work on the radio. 5G is radio. It's all radio frequency. TV is radio. This is electromagnetic radiation. These are radio waves. They are in a continuous spectrum of electromagnetic radiation that you can look up online. The light is a form of electromagnetic radiation, ultraviolet radiation, X-rays, gamma rays, all of it. It's all electromagnetic radiation. Microwaves, if you've heard of it, it's all the same thing. And the most valuable here is the television spectrum, UHF and VHF spectrum. Most valuable, most useful. And it's free of charge with your Serve the Public Good license to local TV stations. And to be fair, 100 years ago, basically 70 years ago, if I'm being honest, in the 40s and 50s, when they started to think seriously about national networks, the only way to cover the United States was to have a lot of transmission towers roughly 50 to 100 miles away from one another. For those of you who have studied physics and all, you know that electromagnetic radiation travels, light waves, radio waves, travel line of sight, which is why towers are so tall. You put a tower on a high mountain, on the highest building, on the top of the Empire State Building, on the top of the Freedom Tower. You put it on the top of a high mountain. Cable television was not, CATV didn't stand for cable television when it started. It was community access television antennas, CATV, not cable television, community access television. Why? Because in Pennsylvania, right where it started, there was a mountain, and the guy that owned the TV store was on the wrong side of the mountain from Philadelphia and couldn't get television signals to sell his TV set. So he went to the top of the highest mountain he could get to. He put a TV antenna on the top of this mountain aimed at Philadelphia, and then ran a cable down to his store in the valley below, and got amazing pictures from that antenna tower. People who lived along the cable route asked him if they could, because they were on the wrong side of that mountain too, if they could tap into it. And community antenna television was born. The first cable system came out of just the need to do that. You needed a TV antenna, a transmitter, and a tower to either to transmit it or receive it that was within line of sight. I know that there's a lot of flat earthers out there, tongue firmly in cheek, but the earth actually is round. Here's a news flash. It actually is round. And so in the round world in which we live, the earth curves away about every 26 miles or so. That's about as far as you can see. So you got to get up high, get up 50 miles, 75 miles, depending on the power of the transmitter and how high up you can get. Maybe you can get out 100 miles, maybe. But we have satellites now in the air. We transmit everywhere. We don't need any of this. We don't need local stations. We don't need them. The FCC is subsidizing a technology that ceased to be meaningful 10 years ago. It's totally meaningless now. The internet is pretty much everywhere, and where it isn't, it should be. And local TV isn't helping that situation one way or the other. It's hurting it. Is it time for the FCC to ask for that spectrum back and put it to better use? And in a television environment, you want to have free over-the-air? Great. You can have some free over-the-air TV in certain metros if you want to. It can all be free. Make it free internet. Make it free wireless, fixed wireless, and 5G. We don't need this in any way to be free UHF and VHF. We just don't. No benefit. You can multicast on the internet. You can do all kinds of stuff that we do now in a much more efficient, much more ecologically friendly way, and way better for the future. So is it time for the FCC to think hard and long about a revision of what a local television license is? I wrote this in a blog post earlier this week, or last week, late last week. You must know how many TV people, and you know I'm on Fox 5. Maybe you don't know. I'm on Fox 5 every Tuesday morning at 6:18. Doing I'm their on-air tech guy. And so I do, I cover tech and business for Fox 5. And I think that goes out on the Fox Wire and does those little segments go out around. And so I'm a guy that does like local news, and I'm a big fan of local news. So you have to know I got called by an awful lot of people. I've been in the TV business a long time. A lot of you here know that I used to be president of the local Emmy Awards, and yeah, I've been in the local news business the better part of 40 years. This is not a popular point of view, but I'm also a realist and a technologist. And I got to tell you, I don't see a reason in the world. I just don't see a reason literally in the world for local TV to get free everything at this point. I mean, that just seems crazy. So I think we're in for a change. Before we go into our NFT mining, again, please tell everybody who you are, where you are, what you're doing. Yes, Dan, they did go insane. I picked up, I got quite a few persnickety phone calls, and it was fun to get, actually. I did defend myself, to be fair. I vigorously defended myself to no avail, because I still got yelled at. But, speak truth to power. That's the Shelly Palmer brand. As he so socially reap, I'll take my lumps, because I personally actually believe it's time to look at this. I'm passionate that there should be local broadband, good local broadband for every American. That's a position I'm taking. I want to see it. I want people to get there. I think actually all over the world, everyone deserves, doesn't matter who you are, where you live. You deserve good access to the internet. Fred, ATSC 3. ATSC 3 is advanced television, and Fred fortunately just asked a really important question. ATSC 3 question mark. That's broadcast TV's hope to take advantage of the brave new world. Too little, too late. It's just that simple. 10 years ago, I'm all excited about it. They've been promising me ATSC 3. There's going to be zero consumer adoption. There are many better ways to do what ATSC 3 offers. The advertisers aren't interested. You can't even get the advertisers to deal with what's happening now, let alone deal with that. So, and I think you also have to be very cognizant of the fact that if you start programmatically selling local TV ads, it will be a worse race to the bottom than the race to the bottom that it is now. I don't see how local TV would survive that. It's a good debate, a solid debate. ATS 3, it happened, then it didn't happen. It's just not a thing. So yeah. One other thing just before we get started, this is important. Last week, a university in New Zealand, University of Wellington in Victoria University of Wellington. I had never heard of it until last week, so I apologize for not knowing its name. Yeah. So this is amazing. The story, the more I look at it, the more I laugh. So it's not funny. And this is like just pure schadenfreude. So I apologize for being like, for being that guy. What this university IT department did was priceless. They ran some utility, and they wiped every hard drive, every C drive, and reset every Windows install on every PC on the campus. Did nothing to OneDrive, did nothing to the shared drives, did nothing to the network drives. They just factory reset all the PCs. Yeah, I'll say it again. They factory reset all the PCs. Now, they'll get some of that data back. I hope. There were college students who reported, PhD candidates who reported that they lost a year's worth of data. Now that's heartbreaking, but I, it's 2021, folks. I'm going to say it because it's a teachable moment and it needs to be said. And since I've got you all here, I would be remiss if, especially now that we're going to be talking about NFTs and mining Ether and mining Bitcoins, which need to be so secure. You must back up your local data. Now, what's happened is everybody is being begged by the big tech organizations, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, IBM, everybody, to throw everything in the cloud. Everybody. That's what they're asking you to do. Hey, David Friedman. Yes, NeagerNet. Backup still works. It's not your fault if you forget that you're saving something to your local C drive if you still have one. It's not your fault if you forget that you're still putting something in your documents folder if you're a Mac user, because you do. Sometimes you put it there because you don't want the network to have it, right? You just don't. I mean, you're thinking you're getting smart. Sometimes you want some personal pictures. So you leave your personal pictures folder not backed up and you have like a network pictures folder or a network video folder or a network music folder. Everybody wants you to put everything in the cloud right now. And sometimes you fight back and you don't. I get that. And I know a lot of people who do that. So what do? They then make a pact with themselves that they're going to back up their local computer. Some Mac people use Time Machine. Some people use commercial backup services on Windows. Some people take their QuickBooks or their financial data and they back it up locally because they don't want it on the network. Your banking data because you don't want it on the network. If you're going to do that, get a jump drive and back it up. Take it off your computer. Just get a jump drive and take it off your computer once a week. Absolutely once a week. Worst you could ever lose is a week's worth of work. Personally, if I were anybody out there, I have no stake in this whatsoever. I don't make a nickel from these people. I'm not even going to put the URL up because I don't want you to think I'm getting paid by these guys. There's a company called Backblaze. I'm asking you to research companies like Backblaze, not use Backblaze. I'm just going to talk about Backblaze for a second. It's $6 a month and it'll just back up 100% of your local computer like Time Machine for $6 a month. It's not cost effective if you go back and forth on it all day long. It's not like you can't use it it's cheaper than cold storage anywhere else. It's one of a dozen companies you can use like it. I find it to be the least objectionable. And truth be told, again, they're not paying me a nickel. I don't any dog in this hunt. There's no affiliate like marketing money I'm getting for this. Backblaze, I think it's a .com. Just go there and put your local computer for $6 a month. Just put your local computer on it. If you're too lazy to put your stuff on a jump drive, do that. If you can be disciplined, what I do personally, I have a very, very complex backup schema here. I mean complex, but I have an awful lot of data that I don't want lost. And so I'm not going to suggest we might do backup, business continuity, backup and resiliency training, maybe 1 week in the future. It's so boring. It's like the most boring thing in the world. But I will tell you that on my phone, there is an alarm that has a song snippet that is a unique song snippet that I put there. And the song is I Will Survive. It's just one little phrase as long as would fit into the alarm tone of I Will Survive on my phone. And it rings on Fridays at 9:45 a.m. every Friday. And I've been in meetings where people wonder where that is. That is, and I snooze it if I don't do it, if I'm not in the office, that is my cue, and I have it on my calendar too. It's my cue to reach into my desk drawer, take out my jump drive, stick it in my computer physically, and drag and drop the things that I absolutely cannot live without. This is a difference between top secret, confidential, and everyone can see it when they hack my computer. Confidential folder is encrypted deeply, and I take it off the computer once a week. you should too. Back up your computer once a week. That's what the nice folks, that's what the nice folks here at the University of, at Victoria University, yeah, University of Wellington in New Zealand. That's what they have, Victoria University of Wellington in New Zealand. That's what they have taught us this week. Thank you for teaching us. Thank you for teaching us the most important lesson. Okay, I did something for you guys this week that I'm a little proud of. I set up last night I set up an Ethereum mining system. I decided to go mine for Ether, and here it is. Here's my, because of Bitcoin. You forgive her. This is my computer, and what it's doing. This is not the one I'm on right now. This is sitting across the room from me. So this is the computer itself, and I'm going to talk about it. Here is the mining operation. It's doing the mining, and this is the overclocking here. And let me just move this window a little bit so I can get over here. This is the, hopefully you guys can see the cursor. This is the overclocking settings, which we're going to go into in a minute. This is the pool data, and here's the computer itself. And inside the computer, this is a gaming computer, and we are mining today. Let's see if I can, oops, no, I can't do that. Okay. We're mining today on the GPU, not the CPU. So this GPU, or graphics processor card, this GPU is a NVIDIA, this here, it's an NVIDIA 2080 Ti 11 gigabyte GPU. And it's doing all of the heavy lifting. The CPU here is doing nothing, literally nothing. The hard drive's doing nothing. The internet's doing nothing. What you're seeing here is the mining operation, and we're going to go a little deep into this now. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at the mining operation first. All right, here we go. So what you're looking at here, this, which is running at the command level. It's a minute to set up. I'm not going to tell you this isn't a minute to set up. This is a minute to set up. First of all, you have to disable all of your virus protection. That would stop it from running because mining looks like a virus to the computer. There's quite a bit of prepping in the command window at the command prompt. It's well documented. And by the way, this is a consumer grade install. It only took me an hour to set up last night. I didn't spend a lot of time doing it, but I did want to show everybody what's happening. So let's read the screen for a second. You can see it's mining ETH. That's what Ether, that's a short name for Ether. It's mining ETHs. We're at 53.458 mega hashes a second. We'll talk about mega hashes in a moment. This is the job it's running. It's trying to do proof of stake for the eHash or Ether that it's trying to mine. Here you can see the GPU is running at 79 degrees Fahrenheit, which we'll talk a little bit more about. So it's running hot in there. I'm sorry, that's 79 degrees Celsius. We're burning about 177 watts of power, which is hardcore. That's a lot of power. It's about $350 a year worth of power. And again, I was able to overclock this processor to get us into roughly 54, I'm going to call it 53 and a half mega hashes a second. So we're going to watch this for 1 second, and we may be lucky enough to see a share of an Ether being mined. So far, everything we're looking at right here, nothing has happened. We haven't mined any Ether while we've been sitting here, but we're trying to. We're performing a lot of calculations. While we're performing calculations, you'll see it come up in green if we get a little share of an Ether. If we get a little share of an ETH, we will know in a second. This is just one GPU worker, so it's not like the world's most efficient mining situation. In fact, and I'm going to tell you why it's not efficient in any way in a second. So let's talk about what you have to do to your computer. Let's talk about what you have to do to your computer to make some of this work. First, we'll talk about overclocking your GPU. So remember, I said this is only working on the GPU. So let's talk about this for a second. Hopefully, all you guys can see this. So I set a power limit of 70% of the power on the GPU because I don't want to burn up this GPU. And even at 70%, It's taken 100. Oh, wait, we got to go back. We got to go back. I'm very excited. Hold on. We're going back. We're going back. We're going back. We got some. Yay. We found some ETH shares found. So you can see right in here, we found some, we've mined a little bit, a super tiny amount, but we've mined a little bit of Ether. So I'm very excited about that. Okay. Back to our story. I just got excited because, it happened. There we go. Every once in a while, you get like a little itty bit, like a tiny itty bit. So we've overclocked the GPU to about, but we've limited the power to 70%. Because I just don't want to burn this thing up. And I left the fan on auto because I want the room quiet. And the fan is going at around, 75% right now. A lot of people just set the fan to 80, 90 and just let it go. And a lot of people really just rack the GPUs up in the open air or put a cooler on the GPU itself. They're called rigs and they make special rigs. This is sitting in a gaming computer case. So when I overclocked, I didn't overclock the, core memory of the GPU because it's a 2080 Ti. It's going to be fine. But I did take the memory clock and I did overclock it a plus 400% relative. So this is tweaked a little bit. That's someone just asked me, Pushing Pandas said they're only getting 35 mega hashes per second. I'm getting 53 plus. Why? The reason is that I spent about 20 minutes last night tuning the GPU, and that's a delicate balance between power of the that you're applying to it and fan speed and the amount just trying to push the core memory and the core clock. And I found I started with the core clock down to minus 1100 and I brought it up to positive 2200 and I hit at zero. I decided it was just fine where it was. If this is too technical for people and I'm boring you to death, understand that overclocking is what you must do. No, every piece of silicon is different. And this is so expensive to do from an electricity point of view, which I'm going to demonstrate to you in a moment. It is so expensive to do that and so unprofitable at the moment because of the cost of electricity and what it does to your computer and what it does to your processor that you really have to be very careful tuning. So here what we have, this is the pool. So what you're seeing here is I'm in a mining pool. This is one of 100 mining pools you could be in. This is Ethermine, and I signed up here because it's super easy to do, and I just thought it would be easy for everyone to see. Here you're seeing that I've got one worker working. It's telling you the total amount of the Ether I've mined so far. I've only been mining since about 10 o'clock last night or 11 o'clock last night when I went to bed. This is the amount of Ether that we have mined so far. The payout will come every 19 days. They're going to send us some money. These are the workers that are working. So they've got, and this is available to anyone. Anyone can see this because I'm working with the address of the actual wallet that's receiving the blocks that I'm contributing to, just so that you know this particular mining group is pushing out a block every 15 seconds or so. They just did their 12 millionth Ethernet block on the blockchain. So the mining pool here, this mining pool is doing an okay job. And I feel like we've, this rig, which is, dedicated to this. This computer is not doing anything else but this right now. And you can just see it crunching away. This rig is not going to make me a nickel. And I want to talk about what I mean by not going to make me a nickel. And I want to go a little bit, I'm going to mix my metaphors and we're going to go and have a quick look at my MacBook, if I might. So let's look here. And we said we were getting roughly 53 mega hashes. So that's 0.53 gigahashes, which is what this Bitcoin. So let's pretend we were mining Bitcoin at this rate as opposed to mining Ether. And I hope you guys can all see this. I think you probably can. So instead of Ether, which is running at about 1,800 per ETH, Bitcoins are at $56,000 today. And as I told you, we're burning 175 watts of power. And the cost, I live in Manhattan, so cost of electricity here for me is 25 cents a kilowatt hour, right? That's what it costs. So let's come up here and let's just look. I'm going to take myself off of this because let's have a look. I've got $1.05 a day in electricity. That's $378 a year. That's exactly what Con Ed says that computer is costing me. I've got a little power monitor in the wall. It's plugged into a power monitor, and to leave that computer on, which it is absolutely every day, all day long. That computer's on every day, and it costs me $378 a year. So if I was mining Bitcoin on that computer, and again, I'm not, we're mining, again, Ether, but if I was mining Bitcoin, it would cost me $1.05 a day to run that computer, which it does. And notice all these zeros? Yeah, we're getting nothing. We're getting absolutely nothing. Where we are able to make a little bit out of the mining pool, we're getting a little bit of money when we're mining. We're getting no money if we're mining Bitcoins. And actually, I don't think there's going to be much of a payout here at this mining pool either. And I know that my little mine is just going, and there it is, just doing its thing, and it's kind of making good use of the GPU. And yeah, it's actually a fairly good rate. This is all proof of work. I'm not on a proof of stake. And will it be profitable in proof of stake is the question from Massive Error on Twitch. And I thank you for that question because I think that is the most important of the questions to ask. Will it be profitable when we go from proof of work to proof of stake? Just so you all understand, proof of work, every node on the network, every one of the shared processors needs to agree that proof of work, in a proof of work environment, everyone needs to agree that a transaction is authentic. It's the way it works. Thank you, Massive Error. Thank you, Pushing Pandas. You've asked two very important questions and you've made two very important statements. So let's go over them quickly. The difference is in a proof of stake environment that you buy a stake, you stake your node, and then there's not a consensus, but there is a vote, a majority vote. And the majority vote is going to rule. So how do you stake on Ethereum 2? Ethereum 2.0, how are we going to make this work? What's really going to happen? Is Ethereum, and thank you, Massive Error, I thought Ethereum was proof of work, shouldn't it be profitable when it goes to proof of stake? Ethereum 2.0 is going to be proof of stake. It's going to cost you 2 ETH, 2 ethers to stake each computer. At $1,800 plus your computer, $65,000 per stake to stake each box. So that's going to be, every miner is going to start. Now you're making money on your ethers, so yeah. And gas prices are still higher than high, so that's going to be, hopefully gas prices will come down. Gas prices are the VIG that the mining pools charge. And that varies based on how the mining pools are doing. It'll get cheaper. It'll get faster. Hopefully it'll get faster because right now they're keeping Ethereum transactions. I think it's a block is created every 15 seconds. In a proof of stake environment, they're going to call it, I think, forging a block. I don't think they're going to call it mining. I think they're going to call it forging. There's some new terminology. It isn't out yet, and I have not seen anybody start doing it yet for reals. I'm ready to do it. I've got a box ready to be dedicated to it. I'll take this little box and do it there. Also, I've got another. I actually was able to come up with a couple 3060 cards, which are Ethernet darlings and video game darlings. So we'll see if we can do that. But I didn't set this up to make this a thing. I just set it up so that all of you could see in a consumer grade. Look, if I were to build a rig in a garage somewhere near a stream with a water-cooled world, or if I was using power that was from a wind turbine, if I had some way to really cut my electrical costs all the way down, if I was using old 1060 and 1070 graphics cards, I could buy some Raspberry Pi processors that cost $35, $40. There's ways to put Linux systems on because this is all GPU, because this is all your graphics card. You can go mining all day long, literally go mining all day long with just a GPU, a power supply, and a Raspberry Pi, the little tiny computer, because there's nothing happening with the computer. There's nothing happening with the hard drive, and there's practically nothing happening on the internet. You need no bandwidth for this. You just need a graphics card. It's going to go all day and all night. So there are people that have rigs, and they're like their refrigerator racks filled, or bakery racks filled with GPUs. They're all hanging on hooks on these bakery racks with little Raspberry Pis hanging off them, and power supplies, and they air condition the room with cheap power, and that's how it goes. So yeah, but if you're gonna, and they're not in like consumer grade mining pools, they're in hardcore mining pools with badass people who do badass things, and you can't get meaning you who is listening to me. If you're listening to this particular streaming video, you are in no way going to go out and, I don't think, jump in your own mining pool. And certainly I would have bored you to death by now if you were skilled enough or schooled in the art enough to mine your own using the more hardcore tools. But I just wanted to show you that in an hour last night, I was able to set up a mining operation on a spare PC with a good graphics card and get, really respectable, 53.5 mega hash per second output. That's really 2 years ago. That would make me $30, $40, $50 a month, $60 a month, maybe more. Even with the lower price of Ethereum, it would have been more. So, someone's asked about ASICs, and sure, I don't have the Ether ASICs here. If I was mining Bitcoin, there are ASICs that are made specifically tuned to mine BTC, to mine Bitcoins, and there are very few places, GPUs that are set up that way for Ether, and the ones that you really have to be into it deeply. There's a world of tuning. There's a whole, interest groups. There's a lot of peeps that are deep into this. So yeah, if you're interested, you should definitely check it out. One thing I just want to mention, sometime next week on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, wherever you get your Apple Podcasts and your Spotify podcasts, Tech Stream with Shelly Palmer and Seth Everett is going to start next week. I'm very excited about it. It's a brand new podcast, like the world needs one, but we're going to cover technology, media, marketing from just a fun place. And I've been wanting to do a fun podcast that's more about tech and its impact on the future, in a very real, visceral, what it really means to each of us, and not what it means to the business, but what it means to us personally. And Seth has been kind enough to partner up with me, and I can't wait to do it. Seth's amazing, and we've done a couple demos. There's a little pilot, just a little promo up there now, so you can go to Apple Podcasts and you'll easily find TechStream, and you can set it up so that please subscribe so that you can find it next week when we launch the podcast for the first time. I'm super excited about this. Super, super, super excited about it. So if you have any more questions or any of anything else I can answer, we got a few minutes left. Pushing Pandas, China mining is hard. So yeah, there are 747s filled with NVIDIA RTX A6000 cards leaving for Asia every day. These are the most badass 128 gigabyte, oh my goodness, graphics cards that, there are people who do this to make money at it. I did this for fun so I could basically, just show you my, I could just show you my little thing. And I just, I wanted to just be able to go, oh, look, mom, no hands. We're mining. See it mine. How fun. But this is child's play. I was doing this for real. I'd have a warehouse or an airplane hangar or two warehouses or two airplane hangars. Some of the mining operations in Asia have processors that are either bathing in oil or water cooled or, submerged. I've seen some insane pictures. I don't know how much of it is true. I haven't seen any of them in person, but the pictures online of people that have 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 GPUs that are hooked up where they're using hydroelectric power, and they're the warehouse next to the dam, warehouse next to this warehouse. Just it's a business. And it's not one you want to get into. It just isn't. But it's something you should understand. You should understand what it is. And I would actually urge you, if you've got a spare computer around, we're about to get deep into the NFT world. It's going to explode the bubble in cryptocurrency again. Tesla's just announced that you can buy a Tesla with Bitcoin. Bitcoins came down the other day, and everybody went, "Oh no, is it the end of the bubble?" Bitcoin came down a couple grand, and Ether came down, I think 5.79%. Same thing with Bitcoins. And everybody was sure that, oh no, the bubble may have burst. Experts, this is not financial advice. Don't take it as such. I'm not offering you any financial advice at all. I'm not a financial professional. I certainly wouldn't be able to tell you about the speculative nature of Bitcoin or even weigh in on it. But everybody I know that knows anything about this is thinking this thing's going to come down to, half the price again. And then you're going to see $100,000 Bitcoin. And people are saying, there's no store of economic value in a Bitcoin. And the argument is, and believe me, I'm not an expert on this, and I'm not pretending to be an expert on it, but what people will say, and the arguments I have been involved in, gold isn't a store of economic value either, other than the fact that people think it's rare, and they like to adorn themselves with it, and they've been doing it for thousands of years. It has no intrinsic value. Neither does a Bitcoin. Neither does anything on a blockchain. Neither does an NFT. Neither does a US dollar. It's a piece of paper. It's backed by the full faith and credit of the United States, right? It stores the economic value of our gross domestic product, our military, our rule of law. That's the store of economic value in a US dollar, in the US Treasury, and our whole economy. So, if you, it was a massive error. Once paid 15 Bitcoin for pizza because it was worth nothing. And now it's $56,000 a coin today. And it's going to fluctuate, and it's being there's a lot of people in it, and there's a giant bubble. But you need to understand it. And so you should, start to do a little research. I'm going to write about it extensively over the next few weeks. We're going to do a few more seminars like this one about Ether, about the 1,300 other currencies that are out there and those coins, about Bitcoin, about NFTs, and what it means to do non-fungible tokens and kind of where that is. So, that's where my head is. I just think everybody should understand it because it is a bubble. Is it as big as the World Wide Web? I don't think so, but I don't know. All currency is digital right now. The SWIFT system doesn't have any delay in it. ACH doesn't have a delay in it. You put your money in the bank. That's not real money. That's digital money too. So if someone says this is digital currency, it's like, yeah, so's your currency. Unless you're holding a green dollar bill in your hand, everything you do with a credit card is instant. That's digital. So I don't buy this. It's digital. Stop it. This is something you need to understand. A lot of people are in it. There's a lot of hucksters in it. I would beg you to be very careful buying and selling this stuff right now. But going deep and understanding how it's created and understanding the resources that it uses and understanding the impact on the environment that it may have, I think this is all important, really important. And it's important for you to viscerally get it and to be an expert in. If someone says to you, this is this is contributing to climate change, here's why. Am I contributing to climate change? I leave that computer on all the time anyway. That $378 a year is sunk. The computer is never not on. Is it burning more electricity than it normally would? This much more. Is that a bad thing? Yeah. Am I going to stop Ethernet mining when I'm done with this podcast or video? No, I'm going to let it go for the week because I want to make some calculations because I'm doing an experiment, but it's going to cost me money. It's not going to make me money. And so I'm going to turn it off. That's not a good use of electricity, but it's not impacting the environment. That computer was on anyway. Should I turn my computer off every day? You turn that computer on and off every single day, you shorten the life of that computer. And then what am I going to do to the environment? Carbon footprinting, putting all that back in a dump somewhere. There's no right or wrong here. The carbon footprint thing is something that you need to take seriously and you need to get involved in. And part of that is going to be really understanding what the load is we're putting on the power grid, what we're doing with carbon and what we're doing with fossil fuels and how all of this goes into that. So please become educated, do your research, ask any questions you want. As you absolutely know, I can be found, you know where to find me. I can be found at the strategy hacker hashtag, which is really where I want you to find me, because the strategy hacker hashtag on Twitter is where I'd like you to ask your questions. But if you can't, please just let me run this back. Please, Shelly at shellypalmer.com or at Shelly Palmer on Twitter. I'll be very happy to answer any and all of your questions. Anything you want to know about NFTs, anything you want to know about Ether, or Bitcoin, anything you want to know about mining, please just ask. And with that, I will say to you, thank you again from the bottom of my heart. I just appreciate the time everybody spends with me every single week. Please put your name in chat, put what you do, where you are in chat. I save these chats and I'll reach out to anybody. You can ask your questions here. Go on the Discord server, we're there all the time. It's not just this. And with that, I will say thank you and see you next week.